Hello and welcome, dear listeners, to another enlightening episode of the A to Z English podcast. I'm John, and today we are building on what we discussed last time. We're delving deeper into how to truly master the English language, especially for those of you who are at an advanced level. Today's episode is all about going beyond fluency, moving toward becoming an expert communicator in English.
Hi everyone, it's Sarah. I'm really excited about today's episode because it's packed with practical tips on how to refine your English even further. We'll be discussing how to structure more complex thoughts, how to use intonation and emphasis to make your speech more engaging, and how to navigate formal versus informal language situations. So, whether you're preparing for a job interview, giving a presentation, or just wanting to improve your everyday conversations, stay tuned because this episode is for you.
Absolutely, Sarah. Let's not waste any more time. Grab your notepad and let's get into the specifics of how to take your English from fluent to truly masterful. 1. Speaking with precision, finding the right words at the right time. One of the key aspects of advanced English mastery is speaking with precision. It's not enough to know a lot of vocabulary. You have to be able to choose the right words in the right moment, under pressure.
Exactly, John. Many advanced learners know the words, but when it's time to use them in conversation, they might struggle to retrieve the right one. One way to overcome this is by actively expanding your vocabulary with words that you can use in everyday conversation.
A good exercise is to pick 5 new words each week and try to use each one in at least 5 different situations. This forces you to not just memorize words, but to actively practice them. For example, if you learn the word articulate, you might say, "She's very articulate," or "I need to articulate my thoughts more clearly."
Another great tip is to use synonyms. For every new word you learn, try to learn 2 or 3 synonyms as well. This will allow you to express the same idea in different ways depending on the context. For instance, instead of saying happy, you can say elated, joyful, or content. This variety makes your speech more flexible and natural.
And remember, the key to being precise with your vocabulary is using the words consistently in real conversations. The more you practice, the easier it will become to recall the right words at the right time. 2. Mastering intonation and emphasis. The music of English. Another element of advanced English that often goes overlooked is intonation and emphasis. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. English has a rhythm, almost like music, and learning to control that rhythm will help you sound much more fluent.
That's right, John. For example, the meaning of a sentence can change entirely depending on where you put the emphasis. Take the sentence, "I didn't say you stole the book." Depending on which word you stress, the meaning changes. Stress "I," and it means someone else may have said it. Stress "stole," and it implies the person may have borrowed it instead. Mastering this can really elevate your communication skills.
A simple exercise is to take a sentence and change the emphasis. Record yourself saying it with stress on different words, then listen to how it sounds. This will give you a deeper understanding of how emphasis can change meaning in English.
Intonation is equally important. English is not a monotone language. The pitch of your voice naturally rises and falls during conversations, and this is something advanced learners need to pay attention to. Practice mimicking the intonation patterns of native speakers by watching videos or listening to podcasts. 3. Structuring complex thoughts. How to express ideas. Clearly, as you become more advanced in English, you'll need to express more complex thoughts, whether it's in a discussion, a presentation, or even casual conversation.
That's right, Sarah. Many learners can handle simple conversations, but structuring a complex thought can be a real challenge. One useful technique is to start with a simple sentence and then gradually add more layers of detail. For example, "I had a meeting" can become, "I had a meeting with my team to discuss the new project, and we covered several key deadlines."
Transitional phrases like "firstly," "in addition," or "on the other hand" can also help structure your thoughts more clearly. They act as road signs for your listener, guiding them through your ideas step by step.
And let's not forget the power of pausing. Strategic pauses give you time to organize your thoughts and allow your listener to absorb what you've just said. This is a technique used by the best public speakers in the world. 4. Navigating formal versus informal English. When and how to adjust. Another important skill for advanced learners is knowing when to use formal and informal English. Depending on whether you're in a business meeting or chatting with friends, the language you use will need to change.
Absolutely, John. In formal situations, you want to use more polished vocabulary and avoid contractions or slang. For example, instead of saying, "I'm gonna," you would say, "I'm going to." This instantly makes your speech sound more professional.
Conversely, in informal settings, using contractions or even some slang can make you sound more natural and approachable. A great exercise is to write out the same email in both a formal and informal tone. This will help you practice switching between the two styles of communication.
And one of the best ways to master this skill is by observing how native speakers adjust their language depending on the situation. Watch videos or listen to podcasts where speakers switch between formal and informal English. 5. Breaking through language. Plateaus. How to keep progressing. Lastly, we need to talk about breaking through language plateaus. As an advanced learner, you might feel like you're no longer improving, even though you're still practicing regularly.
Yes, hitting a plateau can be really frustrating, but it's a natural part of the learning process. One way to push through is to expose yourself to new and challenging content. If you've been watching the same types of videos or reading the same types of books, try something different to stretch your skills.
Another way to keep progressing is to set very specific goals. Instead of saying, "I want to improve my English," you could say, "I want to improve my ability to talk about current events." This gives you a clear focus and allows you to measure your progress more effectively.
And don't forget, language learning is a long journey. The most important thing is to stay motivated and keep pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Conclusion. That wraps up today's episode. We've covered a lot of ground, from mastering intonation and emphasis to breaking through language plateaus and structuring complex thoughts.
Remember, becoming an expert in English is all about persistence and practice. Every time you use a new word, adjust your intonation, or express a complex idea, you're one step closer to mastering the language.
Thanks for joining us on the A to Z English podcast. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and enjoy the process. We'll see you next time with more tips and strategies to help you master English.